All right, guys, welcome to the training tonight for List Publisher Profits, and gives me a great pleasure every time I get the opportunity to hop on a webinar or any type of conference call to share some information. So we're going to take this probably another 40-45 minutes or so and go over a couple things tonight that really help me in my business. So let me launch this quickly here. We're going to do a quick slideshow. So once again, welcome to the List Publishing Profits webinar tonight. Thank you guys for stopping by. Always appreciate it. So let's get right into it. I just want to tell you just a tad bit about myself so you know where I'm coming from, and just give you a little background. Some of you guys know me, some of you don't, but I've been in the home-based business industry for about 19 years. Started out in 1994. Today, I'm a partner in a successful direct mail business for about 10 years. For my first 8 years or so, I struggled in MLM like a lot of people. Back in those days, this was kind of pre-internet. The internet wasn't really even a factor as far as MLM, or there was no affiliate type of programs or anything like that. And it was pretty tough. It was pretty tough, but my breakthrough came when I started to implement some of these strategies that we're going to talk about tonight. It really started to attract certain things to my life. Lewis last night, well, the other night, talked about a lot of the how-tos tonight. But this is some of the mental strategies that we're going to get into tonight that really help my business, and it's kind of how I stay on track and stay focused on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. Without this stuff that we're going to talk about tonight, I don't know where my business would be, offline and now my list publishing business. So my top 5 strategies that I live by in my business, I call this the mental wealth foundation. A lot of people I see in the industry are, they chase money. They're constantly, I got to make, lots of money. But my whole thing has been, building a wealth mentality, and building assets that will last for a long time. And that was one of the reasons I was attracted to list publishing. But we'll get into that in a few minutes. But one of the top, or I should say the number one reasons for doing any business, whether it's offline or online, is what is your why? I know some of this stuff you guys heard before, and but it's critical for moving your business forward. Why are you doing this? What is your reason for starting a list publishing business? For me, it was simple. I had already had an offline business. I had tried some things online back in '07 and kind of struggled, tried to get my own product launch, and it just really didn't happen for me until about 10 months ago, maybe about 11 months ago, when Dagan started telling his story about how he had some struggles in his business, and started talking about, this advertisement business, this list publishing business. And like most people, I had purchased solo ads, but I never kind of knew what to do or how to do it and how to get involved in a list publishing business. So it just made sense to me. It made a lot of sense, and it was something that I said, hey, let me take a crack at it. So what keeps you passionate, about life? When things get bad, in your business, and nobody's buying the clicks. What's your why? What's going to keep you focused? What's going to keep you on track? For me, this is my biggest why. My family. You have me there, of course, in the middle. You have my wife to the left of me in the orange there. My 2 daughters, my 16-year-old and my soon to be 11-year-old in about a week. But this is it for me. You know, this is my main focus. This is why I started out in this industry many years ago. First, it was just me and my wife, but then as we started to, have kids, I started to focus even more. You know, this is what keeps me on track. This is why I do this business. This is why I do everything pretty much. So you have to, dig deep down and say, okay, why am I doing this business? Um, how am I going to stay on track even when things get tough, when nobody's buying my clicks, when, it seems like I'm stuck in the mud, my business can't move any further. Am I going to quit or I'm going to keep moving? Do I have that foundational why I'm doing this business? Number two, have a game plan. You definitely have to have a game plan of what am I going to do with my business short term, long term, and my daily action game plan. Okay. This is kind of how I break down my business: short term, long term, daily action game plan. And for your, a game plan is just another word for goal, but measurable goals are definitely clearly defined. This is what's going to keep you focused, keep you on track, give you a track to run on. So remember this: everything great is built three times. First, in your mind, you must visualize it. Okay. What is it going to be like to have a solo ad business that is doing $20,000-$30,000 a month? You got a huge list. You're getting a lot of affiliate sales. For some of you, maybe your goal is to quit your job, or replace income, or maybe bring a wife or a husband home. Maybe get a new car, a new house, take vacations. You have to visualize it. For me, it's not just about the money, it's about lifestyle. And that picture I showed you just a few minutes ago, that was me and my family. We were down in South Florida and we went to Key Largo. This was a couple months ago. And we take vacations probably 2, 3, 4 times a year, somewhere. Because for me, it's not just about the money, it's about how I make my money, it's about my lifestyle, as well. And that's what attracted me to a home-based business. I didn't want a situation where I had to work 12 hours a day and couldn't have any fun. I'm one of those personality types that like to have a lot of fun. So you got to visualize it. What is it going to look like? 5 months, 10 months, 12 months, a year, 2 years down the road. And then you must write it down, folks, which is critical. And here's why. Here's the two biggest reasons why you need to write it down. It will keep you on track and keep you focused. If you read your game plan twice a day, it will become a part of your subconscious mind. You can start to attract those things, those people, those places, and events to your life and your business. This stuff flat out works. My business partner that I have today is an expert copywriter. When I met him about 11, 12 years ago, um, he was very skilled in that area. He knew a lot about direct mail. I knew nothing about direct mail, but I was out there. I was busting my butt, and we were in a company together. And we started MLM company, I should say. We started working together, and another deal had popped up, and we wanted to work together, and all of a sudden, he called me, and he had like 10,000 people in his downline. He called me and he said, "Hey, Eric, I want to do business with you, and I want to get involved with this new deal, with you. So I said, okay, no problem. I said, I really don't want to be in your downline. I want to partner up with you because, I want to get some ownership out the deal. And he said, no problem. We can do that. And, we can work together. And I said, well, at the time I didn't have a lot of money. My daughter, my youngest daughter, she was, I think my wife was pregnant with her at the time. She was about to have my youngest daughter. So we just didn't have a lot of money in our life at that time. So, um, I said, some of this stuff that we're going to do offline, I just don't have a lot of money to put in. He said, no problem. He sent me a check for 10 grand. Okay. And said, hey, let's get going. And it was about 7 or 8 months after that, I was doing eight to $10,000 a month. And it's been like that for, 10 years. And this was all because I was basically doing these things that I'm telling you tonight and attracting those uh, people, places, and events all of a sudden started to show up in my life because I was going through the process. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. But here's a quick example of a short-term game plan. Now, it doesn't have to be 5 pages. You don't have to do that. You want everything to be simple, easy, and to the point. Something that you can read quickly, keep you on track on a daily basis, and keep it moving forward. Now, as your business grows and you can get more detailed and and things of that nature, and you can write up a huge business plan and all of that kind of stuff. But initially, you don't need all that. As an example, I'm going to swipe twice a day until my list can produce 100 clicks a day in my first 60 days. This was my first game plan when I started out in list publishing 10 months ago. Okay? Here's a quick example of a long-term game plan. This is my long-term game plan. I'm going to have a solo ad business in 12 to 18 months that is producing 30 customers outside of LPP, and that's List Publishing Profits, that buy at least 400 in solos every month. I will continue to grow my list every single day and produce 250 to 500 leads a day. Simple, to the point. When I go into a new project, I'm looking at 12 to 18 months. And I think anybody that's looking to build a list publishing business, you need to look at it that way. Because there's some things you have to figure out. You got to get the basics down. You got to, develop the reputation, and you have to start to attract customers. Get that big name for yourself, and grow your list. There's some pieces to the puzzle that you got to figure out. So I'm one of those guys in list publishing that you could look at and say, well, I didn't come out the gate and my first 90 days or 120 days, the first 6 months, and just blow it out of the park. I was slow. I was just growing my business slowly. I could only do it probably 5 to 6, 7 hours a week because I have an offline business, so I just couldn't put a ton of time, but I was consistent with it. Every day I would do something, in my list publishing business, but it wasn't a lot of time. So for those folks that maybe you've struggled a little bit and you haven't had a lot of time, that's fine. That's okay because I've struggled for a few months there and just said it's okay because I'm focused. I know what I want. I'm going to continue to grow my list, and I'm going to work at this because I'm building an asset that's going to produce income for a long time. I'm not just interested in just chasing some clicks around and just selling some quick solos to make a quick buck. I'm actually building a real business here. So that was my first long term game plan. So we fast forward 10 months here, and it's almost 10 months to the day when I started out. So am I on pace? Let's look. This is a quick screenshot. This is as of last week. Okay. Now my goal was to build up recurring customers. I wanted 30 of them within a 12 to 18 months. That's I wanted to carve out some customers that would buy from me every single month. I created a recurring product, and I want to develop relationships with some of my best buyers and get them on this recurring monthly, auto ship of clicks every single month, right? So I've moseying along, and here we are. We're at month 10 right now, and as of last week, if you look at these quick screenshots of my PayPal here, this is, let's see, here's one, came in on June 14th, two, three, okay, see, for 397, 397, 397, okay, that's on, what's that, June 14th. Then we have some other ones here from June 13th. Here's another one, 397, another one, 397. Then we go up here again, some more from June 13. Recurring payment 397, recurring payment 397, recurring payment 397, recurring payment 397, recurring payment 397. So you're looking at, within a couple of the days, about $4,000 in recurring sales, okay, that came in based upon relationships that I was building up over the last 10 months. And these are people that I've sold solos to, and maybe sold 2 or 3 solos to, some maybe a lot of solos to, but I built a relationship up with them, and I took them to a webinar and just sold them on, created an irresistible offer and sold them on the reason why they need to do business with me, the Solar Boss. And that's what I kind of brand myself out there as, the Solar Boss. We'll talk a little bit more about that in advanced webinars, but you see, this stuff can happen. Prior to this, I was moseying along, probably doing 2,500, to 3,000, 3,500 back and forth on a monthly basis, which, we got some people on this LPP that's just crushing that. I mean, they're killing that. But now I got some things in place. I've learned the basics, the fundamentals of how this stuff works, and I'm still learning. That's why I hop on as many webinars that I possibly can. That's why I was on Lewis' webinar the other night, because A, I want to support people from List Publishing Profits, and then B, I also want to I want to learn, because you can always learn something from somebody. There's some people in this community that's doing some great things out there, and everybody has their own little techniques and style, and that's the great thing about it. We don't all have to be the same, as long as we reach our goals, and as long as you're doing things that's legal, moral, and ethical, hey, you can do it your own way. I borrow a little bit from everybody, you know what I mean, and but I still have my goals. So 10 customers coming in within 2 days that are recurring customers. 400, I'm buying one of my $400 products, $400 worth of clicks. That's, I'm on track, and this is what I set out to do initially, but I wrote it down, and I read it twice a day. And initially that wasn't there. I wasn't getting any recurring customers. I didn't have the reputation, you know what I mean? I didn't have a track record. I didn't have some things in place. Sometimes in this type of business, or any business for that matter, people like to jump to that next level and they're not ready. I've been guilty of that, plenty of times. I've gotten in coaching programs when I wasn't ready for it. I've tried to, take my business to the next level when it wasn't ready for it, and, had some issues. So this is a prime example of how you can move along slowly but stay on track, and I'm still within my goals. My list right now, as of yesterday, was about 22,000. Um, Today I woke up, I had an opportunity to buy a list of 30K. I bought a list today of 30K, so I automatically just took my business from 22,000 leads up to over 50,000 leads now. And my clicks automatically went up. I tested the list, is doing over 500 clicks. um, so my business is about to grow even more, so I'm right on track with that 12 to 18 month game plan. And then we'll go into some details of some of the things that I've been able to do in the advanced webinars. Um, yeah, absolutely. That was the next thing. Okay. So, so I'm right on pace of where I need to be in my business. So some of you guys that's been out there and you're struggling and you're moving along slow, and you see guys like Lewis and Kristen and some of these folks that are just blowing it away and making huge amounts of money. Don't feel bad. Take your time. Everybody starts at their at different levels. Some people are newbies. They're new to the internet. So you got to figure a lot of stuff out there. They're not familiar with autoresponders and all of that. And then you have people that's more advanced. They come to the table. They already have a list. They understand internet marketing. They just needed a good business model, to take off with. So we all start out at different levels. So the main thing that we're going to talk about in just a few minutes, but the third step in the process um, is work on your mind, body, and spirit. Okay, this is something that's very tough to balance. I've struggled in one or more of these areas to balance it out sometimes. Okay, especially when you have a lot of things that you're trying to do. You have a family, you have an offline business, now an online business, and you got a personal life. So it's trying to balance it out sometimes is tough, but it's very, very important that we don't forget this. 80% of your time should be spent on personal growth and development. Now, I've heard that from a lot of people. Okay, that's nothing new. And I'm sure you guys have heard that before. But 20% should be on your business, but sometimes that gets out of balance and you got more focus on your business than on your personal growth and development. And I just found that when I'm in that personal growth and development lane, a lot of good things start to happen. When I get out of balance and I just get too much focus on my business, things get out of whack. I pick up weight. You know what I mean? I start, my mind is not thinking correctly because I'm not reading. I'm not doing some of the things that I need to do on a daily basis to keep my mind right. So that 80/20 rule is very, very important. So work on your mind, body, and spirit. Read good books and listen to audios every day. Read at least 20 minutes a day. Listen to something positive at least 30 minutes a day. Now, this for me, reading sometimes is a little harder for me, and I know it is for a lot of people these days in a fast-paced life, and uh, you're moving around, you're very mobile. But the great thing about smartphones is that you can download a lot of stuff from iTunes. You can watch stuff on YouTube from your smartphone. Um, I know that when I'm doing stuff in my office, you know, I'll listen to all kinds of audios, whether it be, some course that I purchased or YouTube. I mean, YouTube's a good resource. I go to listen to dating stuff all the time, on YouTube and all kinds of stuff. There's just so much and from free stuff out there that you can get, that you can just listen to while you're doing stuff, working on your computer. You can just listen and get that good information in every single day. So read at least 20 minutes a day, and listen to something positive at least 30 minutes a day. Examples of good books to read: Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or anything by Robert Kiyosaki. This was the key to me, um, having some success initially in my business. And I'm talking about my offline business, which helped me fund, list publishing, is because I started to develop a wealth mentality. And when you start to look at, the school system and how we're all brought up and raised to be basically employees. And what Robert Kiyosaki says is, hey, no, you need to take care of your business, build your own income producing assets, teach you the difference between, liabilities and assets, and help you to really grow that wealth mentality. And that's when I went to my partner today. Initially, he kind of wanted me to work with him, as kind of like an employee type situation. But because I was into the Kiyosaki stuff, I was like, no, I want a piece of the pie. I want some ownership. So then, we kind of he came back and he was like, okay, no problem. We can do that. But had I not been into Robert Kiyosaki stuff, I probably would have just been happy enough to just kind of settle for that because, he was doing better. He was where I wanted to be at that particular time in his life financially, you know. But I knew if I got a piece of the pie and we built something, great, regardless of what happened, if we split up, if we decide to sell the business, I'm still going to, to be able to reap some of the benefits. It won't be like, an employee type situation, where they can hire you, they can also fire you. They can just say, hey, I don't want to work with you no more, and then you walk away with nothing. Okay, so anything Rich Dad Poor Dad, I started reading this stuff as soon as that book came out. I think it was '98, and anything Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, I read that. Think and Grow Rich, those are classics. I've read that several times. Listened to the audios, have that stuff on my smartphone. How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. That's a staple. Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk. Really, really good stuff for marketers. These are, and there's tons of books out there. I'm just giving you a few of the ones that I really like, but there's tons of personal growth and development books out there. So just kind of get in the habit of, having your book of the month that you kind of read. Examples of audios: Empower Network has some really good stuff over there. I know a lot of you guys are a part of that. I just like I just like their movement over there. Kind of the things and the culture that they're, creating. Power Network, almost folded when they had some issues back, when they first started with their merchant accounts and things of that nature. And those guys just, became stronger and stronger over time, and they're doing some great things over there. So if you're a part of Empower Network, great. They have some really good stuff over there, in their inner circle. So that's good stuff. That's stuff that I listen to. YouTube, like I said, Dagan stuff. You can tap into his stuff. Uh, Tons of good stuff out there. Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Jim Rohn, I mean, you name it is out there on YouTube, iTunes as well. You can download, you know, the audio books if you want to, you know. So that's another thing that I do. So when, you know, especially when I'm traveling, I'm on planes and things of that nature, I can just, you know, listen to it on my phone. So, you know, that's another great thing. So examples of audios. Now, and then work on your body. Okay? Work out at least 20 to 30 minutes a day, 4 to 5 times a week. Now, one of the tricks for me, because some days it's kind of difficult. I live in a state like Michigan where, you know, the weather's just it's just bad 9 months out of the year. That's the only way I can put it. It's just not really that good. You know, it's not like being in Florida or California or some of these warm weather states, you know, where the weather's nice. And you know, up here, you know, in the wintertime we're getting 10, 15 inches of snow, and you know, it's hard to walk and things of that nature. But you know, just walking is great. And if it's winter time and you live in a cold weather state and it's snow and all that kind of stuff, you know, treadmills. Um, I have a weight set in my office, so a lot of times in between calls, or even when I'm on calls, sometimes I got my dumbbells, and I'm lifting weights, and um, you know, so that's something that just helped me out, is just having it right in my face, you know, where I can you know, get this stuff in and make sure that I'm keeping my body right, as you know, as well as my mind. Try to eat healthy, a healthy diet, and supplement. If you're not feeling good physically, folks, it's going to be very difficult to build any type of business, because it just affects your entire life. I know, you know, when I'm sick and I'm not feeling good, and you know, I got headaches, all I can think about is going to take a nap and laying down, and you know, you're just not operating at full capacity. Um, but when you're feeling good and physically, and you know, it just seems like everything else just works great. So you know, try to eat healthy, a healthy diet, and supplement. You know, especially in America here, a lot of our foods are just, you know, processed. They're not the best foods in the world. You know, not unless you're into, like my business partner, he grows a lot of his food. Now, if you're into growing your food, of course, you're getting some of the best quality food out there. But you know, for a lot of people, they don't do that. So you got to supplement. Okay, I got to keep that body healthy. Drink water every day. Okay, and that doesn't mean Coke because it has water in it, or iced tea because it has water in it. No, that means plain old good distilled. Um, there's a company out there called actually, if you go to Alex Jones, he has some really good um, water filters out there, and ewater.com, where you can get the top notch. But if you can't, you know, if you can't do that, you know, distilled water is just great. But there's some really good places to get the best filtered water out there that you can that money can buy. So drink half your body weight in ounces on a daily basis to help keep the mind right, keep your mind fresh. Work on your spirit. You know, for some people it's religion. You know what I mean? I'm a believer. You know, I'm a Christian, so you know, religion helps me out tremendously. Some people aren't, so you know, they're into other things, and that's, you know, that's fine. Meditation, yoga. You know, there's a lot of things that you can do to you know, really work on your spirit. So these are just some things that I try to do on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis to help me out. And then the fifth thing is be willing to go through the process and don't ever quit. Um, I remember in 1994 when I first started out with this company called Amway. I know everybody's heard of Amway, but that was my first deal as far as a home-based business goes. And back then, the direct distributor This was right before they got drop shipping, where you would order the product and they ship it right to your home. This is right before that. The direct distributors would have a meeting on Thursday nights, and they would have all the product at their house, and their downline would come to their house, pick up their product, and also they would show the plan, they would show the presentation, and like once a month they would have the big diamond guy come up in his coach bus, and he would sell the dream. So he comes, they had the big diamond guy come up, and this guy was really flashy. I mean, he had a bunch of jewelry on, gold. He was a country western singer too, so and he had his coach bus, and I mean, and he had this backpack with 30 grand in cash. This is before debit cards and all that. So he had about 30 grand in cash. So I asked him, I said, why you carry around 30 grand in cash? And he's like, just in case I want to buy something. He's like, just what I like to do. It's my lifestyle. And if I go in somewhere and I want to buy it, I'm buying it in cash. I said, oh, okay. So then I was asking him about, I was new. I said, hey, what should I do? And, I'm new, and how should I, go about this thing? And he said, well, one piece of advice that I can give you, being a new person, is that be willing to go through the process. And I said, well, what is the process? And he's like, well, it's whatever it takes. Be willing to do that. Okay? And don't ever quit. And that kind of stuck with me over the years. I mean, and I didn't do much with Amway, but it stuck with me throughout my entire 18, 19 years of being in a home-based business. And that's just kind of what I live by, is don't ever quit. So, and be willing to go through the process. Now, we don't want to be like this guy. We don't want to be the person just sitting on the couch, not willing to go through the process, quitting, waiting for somebody else to take care of the business and somebody else to do everything. We're all going to have ups and downs in this business. And here are some examples of going through the process. Okay. A small marketing budget or no money. Okay. Nobody is buying clicks. Autoresponder was shut down. My business is not growing fast enough. Nobody will help me. Now, these are common things that people go through. I went through some of these. Not all, but I went through some of these. But I went through probably, at some point, even in other businesses, it wasn't clicks, but I had nobody joining my business. So I've been through all of this kind of stuff. The thing is, how are you going to overcome this? Nobody should ever get stuck in this business. Dagan says that too all the time. Is you shouldn't get stuck, because there's always somebody out there that can help you solve that issue. Okay, so that's one thing that we got to remember, is that this stuff here is not unique to you. Okay, there's other people that go through the same thing. I mean, I think Lewis had his autoresponder shut down, and he had like a six-figure business. So imagine that you have it shut down, and then you gotta all of a sudden you have no business overnight. Then you got to figure out a way to get it back, and he did that. So you know, don't sweat that stuff. Don't sweat the small stuff, because it's just things that you have to go through in business. I know in school, like, we're taught not to fail, but we have failures sometimes, and we have obstacles, and we have challenges in business. So don't sweat that stuff. It's going to happen, but you don't have to get stuck in the mud. It's always someone that can help you through the process. Remember this. I know this is kind of a cliche, and you've probably heard it before, but if it is to be, it is up to me. Okay? Never play the blame game. If it is to be, it's up to me. And I say that all the time. That's why, if you remember back some slides ago when I talked about my long-term goal, you see it had nothing to do with list publishing profits. It was about what I was going to do outside of list publishing profits. Okay, because I wanted to. The way I look at list publishing profits is that it's a tool. Okay, um, and I want to build some relationships there with Dagan and Jason, but I don't want to totally have my business dependent upon list publishing profits. Okay, I want to have a business outside of that, and that has nothing to do with them. I don't want to totally depend on safe swaps. I don't want to totally depend on a Warrior Farm or anywhere that I get my customers. I don't want to have one way of depending on someone or somebody to build my business. I want to have a thriving business where, you know, I can get people to buy from wherever. Okay? So I know sometimes people come in and they get stuck and things are not happening fast enough in list publishing profits, and but it's just a tool. We have to understand that, like Dagan and Jason, they have their own businesses too. These guys are entrepreneurs. They're not, just sitting around waiting on things to happen. They're diversified. They got other things going on. So the main thing is, hey, we don't want to ruin any relationships. So if things don't happen fast enough, just understand it'll happen. We just got to slow it down sometimes and understand. Everybody wants to make money out there, but if you start to understand that I'm building this for the long term, and if it is to be, it's up to me, then it just puts you in a space where you don't have to, every time something happens, just freak out about it. You know what I'm saying? And I had to learn that. It's called emotional intelligence. I had to learn that over the years because, you know, we have a tendency sometimes when things don't go our way to freak out about it. Oh, what the heck, this, that, and the other, and, go in Skype rooms and blast things away, and this is not working, or go on Facebook. You just never want to do that. You never want to put yourself in a position where you're that whiny butt, in the group, and then nobody wants to work with you because you're kind of whiny. So these are just some lessons that I've learned. We've all made that mistake before. I've made it before where I just didn't know. Like, hey, if you got a problem with a situation, it's not working out for you. You just don't go in Skype rooms. You don't go on Facebook and do certain things. You just don't do it that way. You're trying to build relationships here. Especially with a guy the caliber of Dagan. When I started out really trying to build something online, and I started really snooping around and just checking out things, like in '06, the guy that I saw everywhere was Dagan, and then Jonathan Budd came along, and Mike Diller was out there, but Dagan was like all over the place. I mean, everywhere. So um, this guy's a, a serious icon in the internet marketing home based business space here. So you know we got to understand that it's a pleasure to work with list publishing profits, but it's just a tool for us. It's just like Safe Swap or Warrior Forum. It's a place for us to learn and grow, and it's really nothing out there like it. When we started this out 10 months ago, we didn't have another organization or another group to look at and say, okay, here's the blueprint. This is how we should do it. This first group that came in, we're just kind of learning on the fly. They're just kind of learning and they're trying to perfect it. So when we do this next round here with this next group, it'll run even smoother. It'll be even better. So this was kind of, we were all like the first group that feel like, okay, how should we put this thing together? What's going to work? What's not going to work? So we had to figure all those things out. And for the folks that have hung around, I mean, you're gonna have success. If you just don't quit on the process, you're gonna have success. I went 8 years, okay, without really making a lot of money. I'd done some things. I had made some money, but I mean, I had spent more money. I was never profitable, okay, in 8 years. But I never quit on it. I kept going. I kept pushing it, even after family members were like, you're never going to make it in that. You need to just stick with a job and blah, blah, blah. Some of us heard that before. But, if you just never quit and you hang around with those folks that are moving in the right direction and making things happen, it's going to happen for you. It's no doubt about it, even through the tough times. So to summarize everything we went over tonight, the bottom line with your list publishing business, have a game plan, okay? Number one, okay? And that's a daily game plan, a short-term game plan, and a long-term game plan. Got to have those. Make sure you write them down, okay? With your daily game plan, make sure you have that on your desk every single day. Before you go to bed at night, just write down your game plan for the next day and have it on your desk. Sit in the middle of your desk so you can read it, you can stay on track, and you know what you have to do that day. Even if you only have an hour, 30 minutes a day, do something in your business and write it down so that you stay on track. Be willing to go through the process. Don't ever quit. Period. Okay? Take massive action. All of those things when it comes to maybe lack of funding in your business, when it comes to nobody's buying my clicks, I'm not profitable, all the things that we go through. I'm having autoresponder issues, technical issues, all of that can be solved. And we're going to help you solve those things here. You got some people that's been through a lot over the last 10 months, figured some things out. We're still learning and we're still growing. You got Dagan and Jason and, Amber, and, you got a great group of people to work with here. Let's just don't make any excuses. Let's look at taking this thing to the next level. Don't ever quit. The success formula is simple, folks. Massive action equals massive results. You don't ever want to be one of these people that sit around analyzing, philosophizing, and theorizing. We see a lot of that. That happens sometimes. I used to do that. But once I started to learn these principles we talked about tonight, I have a track to run on now. Okay? You have a track to run on. So you don't have to be in that crowd that's trying to figure everything out and, over analyzing everything. Okay? You have a track to run on. Okay? You have some people in this group that have successful solo businesses. Okay? And they're going to continue to grow because we're only 10 months in. It generally takes 12 to 18 months to build a solid business online these days. Okay? So if you're 6 months in or 10 months in and you're not where you want to be, that's fine. You okay? You just gotta turn some things around, tweak some things, and over the next 6 to 8 months, make it happen. Okay? So that's all I have for you guys tonight. Hopefully I've given you some some value, and I know Lewis the other night gave you some really good how-tos, fantastic stuff, and we're going to continue that. And on Monday night I'm going to go over some safe swap stuff, advanced training, and then you got I think TK coming up tomorrow. So we're going to continue, folks, to give you some really good training here. Some of this stuff, I'm telling you, it's worth a lot of money. Um, some of the stuff that we're teaching. So it's, show up to webinars any chance I get. That was one of the keys for me. Was when the leader had an event, if I can make it, I was there. Period. Okay. Especially if it had something to do with training. If I can make it, I was there. Period. Because the more you learn, the more you can hang around with those people that are having success. It's going to rub off on you. Those people, places, and events going to start to show up in your life. And guess what? Bam. It's going to look like overnight. All of a sudden, you go from not hardly making any money till next thing you know, you're making a lot of money. And, next thing you know, you're like, wow, I'm doing six figures from the house. This is crazy. This is all right. And then you get really big and you get like Dagan and you start doing seven figures from the house. It just gets ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? So, thank you guys for stopping by. If you have any questions on, anything that we covered tonight, um, I guess you can post it down in Facebook. If not, we'll end the webinar. Sorry for all the technical delays. You don't know how bad I wanted to do this webinar, especially when you prepare for something and it's just not happening. But, things happen. The other night, it was something that, we couldn't help. It was a situation where it just didn't work out for us. We couldn't get any audio. Tonight, I had some internet troubles. But we finally got it done and we got on, and you keep moving through the process. You don't quit. So I guess that was perfect for my presentation because it showed that things can happen, and instead of just saying the hell with it, you just keep moving through it and move forward and get it done. So I'm going to turn this off right now and just see if you guys have any questions, any comments, and if not, we can end the webinar for tonight. Okay. Sure. One of the things that we're going to talk about on Monday, or whenever we do the next webinar, is how we're going to do an advanced training on safe swaps, but how I use safe swaps. A lot of people just use it for just to grab clicks, off of there. But hold on, let me log in here quickly. But I use it to build relationships, because remember when I showed you my long-term game plan, for me it's all about building those relationships and getting people to buy clicks on a monthly basis. Okay, I didn't want to build a business where 10, 12, 15, 24 months down the road, I'm constantly chasing new buyers every single month. I wanted a foundation of, ten to $12,000 a month, and this is outside of list publishing profits. Okay, that I established my own buyers there, and this is how I kind of use SafeSwap. And without getting into a lot of what I'm gonna go over next week, but um, this is how I build my foundation. Is through building up a reputation, and then getting some of these buyers to become my long-term customers. Okay, I see a lot on Facebook where people, I'm sorry, on safe swaps where people don't really value safe swaps. They just look at it as, just clicks. Like, as an example, like, I'm baffled at how, like, when I buy solo ads from a lot of buyers, like, they never ask any questions. They never try to find out anything about my situation. Now, I probably spend 5, 6 thousand. That's getting ready to jump up here to $10,000 a month in traffic. Now, you can't carve out $400 in my 5, 6, 7 thousand dollar a month budget, because they never asked me. They never. The way I see a lot of solo ad buyers work in the business is that they're just looking for the quick money and the clicks, and that's cool. But like I said before, for me, it's about lifestyle as well. So when I looked at building my foundation, I was looking at it more long term. So initially, it just didn't seem like I was making that much money, and that was okay for me. Now, people have different strategies. Some people have to make a lot of money right now, and they have different strategies that they want to do, and they don't mind getting a bunch of new customers every month. Mine was a little different. So what we're going to go over um, is how to build a relationship with these people on SafeSwap. Find out how you can find out um, where these people are at. One thing about safe swaps is you got a lot of newbies on there. Majority of the people on there are newbies, and some of them have money, for a nice marketing budget. Some of them don't. But the ones that do, you want to find that out, and you want to see how you can serve them the best. And it's just like any other business. People are looking for those businesses that can provide great value at a cheap price. So I'm going to show you some of those tricks that I've used to be able to build a nice foundation for um, my business using safe swaps. So this is one of my this is home for me, where I can go and I can get money. I can suck money out of here anytime up front. And now I've kind of put together some strategies where I can get these people to buy from me consistently, and then eventually get them on a webinar and sell them an irresistible offer that they say, hey, that makes sense. I'm gonna carve out $400 a month or more, and get traffic from you. So that's what we're going to kind of talk about next week, and I think it'll be really interesting for you guys, because a lot of people, they look, people look at the Warrior Forum, and the Warrior Forum is great. That's great, but I love safe swaps. I mean, it's been great for my business. I built foundation here, and um, now I'm not one of these people that just stick with safe swaps, and that's all I do. No, I don't believe in that at all. But it's somewhere where I can get money out of it every month. But more so than that is to develop those recurring customers, and everything's done for you here. It's you don't have to have calendars and all of that stuff. You don't have to deal with tracking and all that. Everything's done here. So safe swaps is huge for especially for people starting out. It's a great place. So we'll talk more about that next week. So that's it, guys. I think that's it. think that's all I have tonight. Dagan, I don't know if you have anything else. Let me. Okay. Yeah, well, I'm excited about next week, and I thank everyone for taking out your time tonight. I know we got Game 7 of the Miami Heat and San Antonio Spurs, but we still had some folks show up and prioritized, and looking forward to sharing again. All right, so I think we're going to end this tonight, folks. So you guys have been great. We will see you here next week. I'll be back here, and I know some of the rest of the trainers as well. And Dagan will be getting out the schedule there, or the reminders there, to make sure that you guys can hop on. So thanks once again, guys, for stopping by. Definitely appreciate it. You guys have a great, wonderful evening. We'll get the recording out to you as soon